This is Sports Drive.
Welcome back into Sports Drive once again. I'm your host, Preston Moore. Joining me now to talk a little bit of high school soccer. I mentioned we'd talk about it later in the show. We're going to do that right now. Joining me now across the table, News Channel 10 Sports Director KJ Doyle joins the show now live. KJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's a good another day of hoops in the Texas Panhandle, so some big district title implications tonight, especially in the girls' games, being the final day of the regular season for girls basketball in Texas.
Absolutely. Well, before we get to that, I did promise our viewers we'd talk a little bit of soccer, and I just got to say, I was at that Paladuro doubleheader last night, and they put on a clinic against Plainview. I mean, it was just strong offense, strong defense across the board from the Lady Dons and the Dons. Emily Cavazzo's 6 goals in one game. I mean, that's a team, 2 teams really, with on both sides, the girls and the boys, that you have to look out for.
Yeah, it was incredible. Obviously, Emily putting on a performance like that is pretty remarkable. I mean, she's surely headed for the all-district team again this year, maybe even district MVP for a performance like that. So we'll see how that all shakes out. But yeah, 6 goals in a game is a staggering number, even in a game that's lopsided. To have that kind of production is insane. And then the boys' game as well, they end up winning 6-0, and a couple players with 2 goals in that one, including Jaime Martinez rather. So the both Paladuro teams, strong showings against Plainview. Obviously performed really well, and we saw on Friday those tough matchups with Caprock, and those 2 teams expected to be the 2 best in terms of soccer this season in district. But we'll see. Amarillo High and Tascosa are going to have something to say about that too. It's really all over the place. I mean, in girls, I think obviously you'd say Amarillo High and Tascosa would be the 2 kind of favorites there, and then on the boys' side, I think more so what I was talking about of Caprock and Paladuro, that big matchup on Friday between those 2 being, ranked very high in the state. So we'll see how it all shakes out, but there's just a lot of talented area teams, and it's going to be exciting to follow along on TPSN this year and see all the area teams as Mike, gets to call a few games, including tonight for his son. So we're rooting for Avery Roden for one in the back of the net. We don't care who wins, but we got some ties here at the station, so it's always fun to see Mike's son do well.
Yeah, definitely. It's cool to see that Mike gets to call his son's games. I think that at any level of sports, that would be cool. For any parent to be able to call one of their children's games. You mentioned basketball, though. Big night tonight, obviously. Last night of girls basketball here in the state, and then obviously winding things down on the boys' side of things as well. What are you looking out for right now at this point in the season when it comes to district races, different teams that are maybe having state title hopes or potential playoff sleepers? What are you paying attention to in terms of certain storylines for these teams?
For girls or boys action?
Let's start with girls.
Well, for the girls, the big thing to note, which I think we talked a little bit about it with Mike yesterday, and it turns out it's not going to be the case, is that Paladuro Caprock girls game, because we all had thought that game was going to be for essentially that last playoff spot. If they ended up tied, maybe they have to play again. If Paladuro were to win tonight, we thought it was heading towards that. But a big situation developing with Plainview having to forfeit retroactively their game that they had won against Caprock on Friday night because they played a player who was ejected from their previous game against UIL rules, causes them to have to forfeit, and now Caprock has clinched a playoff spot. Paladuro is out. So a bit of a wild turn of events to result in that. I know a lot of people are really just stunned by that whole situation. So certainly interesting, certainly a little all over the place, but it means that this game tonight has minimal bearing on the playoffs, other than the fact that Caprock and Plainview could potentially end up tied for the 3 seed. But certainly a crazy situation that played out. So what we thought on TPSN tonight was going to be a game for the 4 seed, no longer the case. And beyond that, there are some important games from around the area with district titles on the line. The final day of the season, perfect situation for those types of games. And that's Wellington and Clarendon and Nazareth and Happy. Both of those going to be 4 district titles. Of course, Nazareth, one of the best programs in the state year in and year out. And it's going to be great to see them go against their rivals in Happy. And on top of that, Wellington and Clarendon, first time around, a half-court buzzer beater to win it for Clarendon. I was so close to trying to send someone out there to get that game in Wellington. I just figured it was, maybe too big of an ask for some of our guys here at the stage. I didn't want to, spring that on them. I wish I had, because that just a crazy ending. But we'll see tonight. We're going to have it tonight on the news. We'll have this game for the district title. We'll see who comes out on top. Obviously Clarendon at home, hoping to take down a Wellington girls program that, again, was one of the best in the state. So if they can do that again, they already have locked up a share of the district title. So you credit to them for that. But if they win it outright, big milestone for that Clarendon team. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, before we let you go, I want to ask on the boys' side of things, things still developing as well. Not the last night of the season tonight on the boys' side of things. Still 3 more nights of basketball, but still winding down. District races either heating up or in some cases cooling down, with some teams running away with it.
Certainly, yeah. Things to watch on the boys' side, include, the fact that Caprock is still in the mix for that playoff spot, having beaten Plainview. How is that going to shake out? If they do stay tied, that could create a play-in situation for them down the road. So we'll see how all that plays out in the weeks to come. In the games to come, I think there's 3 game days left for the boys until we're done. So, just 3 games left. We'll see how things play out for Caprock in that seeding scenario. So that's kind of in 5A. 4A, not a lot to watch for. Randall, they're past kind of the toughest part of their schedule, having already played Canyon, already played West Plains, already played Hereford, who gave them a great game first time around. So that's pretty much, nothing much to watch for there on that side of things. And it's going to be interesting to see how those, lower classifications shake out. Still, everybody's still in it. And of course, looking back at 5A, Paladar and Amarillo High still going at it for the district title too. So that game is going to be coming up down the road, and that one will be probably to see who gets a share of the district title. It's going to depend on some of these matchups down the line. If both teams can take care of business and win the rest of their games before we get there. But that's another one definitely for people to keep their eyes on and see who can come out on top there. But plenty of fun across all of the districts, and still a lot to decide. But I think we're going to see some district champs for the boys crowned as early as Friday, and we'll see what happens Tuesday and what kind of district title matches we may or may not have.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of interesting stuff still going on in the boys' side of things, and lots of interesting stuff tonight as the last night of girls high school basketball before the playoffs. KJ, once again, thanks for coming on the show real quick and talking a little bit of basketball and soccer. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Absolutely. We'll be right back with more Sports Drive right after this break.